Welcome back. This is BL Stories for You. I'm an indie author dedicated to original BL storytelling. From high school drama to fantasy worlds, everything you hear is written by me. I'm so glad you're here for this journey. Let's begin.
Seong-joon woke up that morning with Jae-hyun curled up beside him, his head resting peacefully against Seong-joon's chest, lips slightly parted as he slept soundly. Soft morning light filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow across his face and making his delicate features shine even more beautifully. Seong-joon smiled to himself, brushing a few strands of hair away from Jae-hyun's forehead. "How can someone be this adorable?" he whispered softly before leaning down to kiss his forehead. Jae-hyun let out a sleepy little sound, almost like a cat purring, and unconsciously snuggled closer. The sight made Seong-joon's chest ache warmly. He could have stayed there forever just watching him breathe. But suddenly, his phone rang loudly on the nightstand. Seong-joon groaned quietly, careful not to wake him as he shifted slightly and reached for the phone. The moment he saw Lisa's caller ID, his expression dimmed. He hesitated before finally answering. "Hey, Tae love." Her cheerful voice rang through the phone. Seong-joon sighed. "Hey Lisa, are you in New York already?" "Yep, I arrived a few minutes ago. I just checked into my hotel room." There was an awkward silence. "Seong-joon?" she called again. "Are you there?" "Yeah." He swallowed hard. "I need to see you. There's something important we need to talk about." The line became quiet again. "Is something wrong?" she asked slowly. "You sound strange." "I'm fine," he lied softly. "We just need to talk before today's show." "Oh, all right then." Her voice softened. "Room 25. I'll be there soon. See you." The call ended. Seong-joon stared blankly at the phone in his hand. His chest felt heavy. This was it. No more hiding. No more pretending. No more hurting Jae-hyun just because he was too afraid to tell the truth. He slowly slipped out of bed, trying not to disturb Jae-hyun, but the smaller man stirred anyway. Sleepy brown eyes blinked open slowly as Jae-hyun looked up at him. "June or?" he mumbled softly, voice rough with sleep. "Where are you going?" "It's still early." Seong-joon pulled on a black shirt. "I'm going to end things with her." The sleep vanished instantly from Jae-hyun's face. He sat up immediately. "How do you think she'll react?" Seong-joon sighed deeply, sitting beside Jae-hyun and rubbing his palms together nervously. "Badly," he admitted. "And honestly, I'm scared. But I can't keep lying anymore. I can't keep hurting you just because I'm afraid of what might happen." He reached out and held Jae-hyun's hand tightly. "I'm with you now. I'm not leaving you again." The words hit Jae-hyun hard. His eyes immediately became watery as he leaned forward and wrapped both arms around Seong-joon tightly, burying his face against his shoulder. "I love you so much," he whispered shakily. "If I had known loving you would feel like this, I wouldn't have spent so long running from it." Seong-joon's expression softened instantly. He wrapped his arms around Jae-hyun's waist and held him close, one hand gently rubbing circles against his back. "I love you too, Jae-hyun." For a few quiet seconds, neither of them spoke. They simply stayed there in each other's arms, listening to the sound of their breathing and feeling the warmth between them. Seong-joon slowly pulled back just enough to look at him. Jae-hyun's cheeks were slightly pink, his lips soft and swollen from sleep, his oversized shirt slipping slightly off one shoulder. Seong-joon's breath caught. "God, he was beautiful." "You know," Seong-joon murmured, brushing his thumb across Jae-hyun's cheek. "You make it really hard for me to leave this room." Jae-hyun laughed softly through his nervousness. "Then don't go." "I have to." "I know." Their eyes stayed locked together. Then Seong-joon leaned in slowly and kissed him. The kiss started softly, gentle and lingering, full of emotion rather than desperation. Jae-hyun melted into it immediately, fingers gripping Seong-joon's shirt tightly. Seong-joon kissed him deeper, one hand sliding carefully along Jae-hyun's waist while the other cupped his face tenderly. Jae-hyun let out the quietest breath against his lips. The sound nearly destroyed Seong-joon's self-control. He kissed him again and again, slower this time, savoring every second like he was trying to memorize him. Jae-hyun tilted his head slightly, kissing him back with equal softness, their foreheads brushing between kisses. "I missed this," Seong-joon whispered against his lips. Jae-hyun smiled shyly. "We literally slept together all night." "I know," Seong-joon murmured. "Still missed you." Jae-hyun laughed quietly, cheeks burning. Seong-joon pulled him onto his lap properly this time, arms tightening around his waist as he buried his face into the crook of Jae-hyun's neck. "You smell nice," he mumbled. "You're acting clingy." "I am clingy." Jae-hyun smiled helplessly and ran his fingers through Seong-joon's hair gently. For a moment, everything felt peaceful, normal, like the world outside didn't exist. Seong-joon eventually pulled back reluctantly and rested his forehead against Jae-hyun's. "I should go before I lose my mind and stay here forever." Jae-hyun bit back a smile. "You're being dramatic again." "I'm serious." Seong-joon kissed him once more, slowly, deeply, before his hand unconsciously drifted lower along Jae-hyun's side. Jae-hyun immediately caught his wrist and laughed softly. "Absolutely not." Seong-joon groaned dramatically. "Why are you rejecting your boyfriend?" "Because your girlfriend still technically exists for the next 30 minutes. Seong-joon dropped his head against Jae-hyun's shoulder in defeat. "That's cruel." Jae-hyun giggled quietly. "Handle Lisa first, then we'll talk." Seong-joon looked up with narrowed eyes. "So there's hope for me?" "Maybe. That's enough motivation." They both laughed softly before Seong-joon finally stood up. "Fighting." Jae-hyun raised his fists cutely. "Fighting." Seong-joon burst out laughing. "You're seriously too cute." "I'm already missing you," he admitted dramatically. Jae-hyun rolled his eyes fondly. "Just go before I throw something at you." Seong-joon grinned brightly and finally left the room. The second the door closed, Jae-hyun fell backward onto the bed with a huge smile on his face, hugging a pillow tightly against his chest. Everything still felt unreal. Seong-joon loved him. Seong-joon chose him. And for the first time in a very long while, Jae-hyun felt truly happy. Meanwhile, Seong-joon walked down the hotel hallway, his earlier warmth slowly fading with every step. This conversation was going to change everything. He was finally standing in front of her hotel room. He exhaled deeply a few times, steadying his nerves before knocking. The door opened almost immediately, and Lisa stood there with a faint frown on her face. "You're here. Come in," she said. Seong-joon stepped inside. Lisa studied him from head to toe before sitting down on a chair. "What is it you wanted to say?" She crossed her legs, watching him intensely. Seong-joon pulled out the chair opposite her and sat down, making sure they were face to face. He swallowed hard. "Lisa, I want us to break up." Silence. Then Lisa burst out laughing, tears even forming at the corners of her eyes. She wiped them away and stared at him. "What? Our relationship hasn't even lasted 3 months and you're breaking up with me?" "I'm sorry for deceiving you," he said quietly. She scoffed. "It's because of Jae-hyun, right? Because of that park damn Jae-hyun." "Don't insult him like that," Seong-joon said sharply. Lisa stood up abruptly, anger flashing across her face. She placed her hands on her hips. "Why shouldn't I? If you liked men, why did you even date me?" He took a slow breath. "I was confused back then. The first time we met. Your eyes reminded me of Jae-hyun." He exhaled. "I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's what happened. When I was with you, it felt like I was with him." He shook his head slightly. "But with time, I realized you two are completely different people. I was just deluding myself because I didn't want to accept that I had feelings for my best friend." Lisa bit her lip hard. "So you were just using me, you asshole." "I guess I was. I'm sorry, Lisa. I wish things had been different." She narrowed her eyes. "So you and Jae-hyun are together now?" He nodded, a soft smile forming. "Yes, we are. And I'm planning to tell the others as soon as possible." Lisa quickly masked her expression, hiding a small, sharp smile. "Fine then. If you want to break up, I'll give it to you. We're officially over." Despite herself, She hated how relieved he looked, but she kept her expression cold. "Thank you, Lisa. You're taking this better than I expected. I thought it would affect your heart." She let out a dry laugh. "About that, it was all a lie. Nothing is wrong with my heart. That doctor is a friend of mine. I had him lie so you'd stay with me." Seong-joon froze. His eyes widened in shock. "You lied to me. You used me." Lisa shrugged lightly. "Let's just say we both used each other and leave it at that." He looked away for a moment, thinking of all the times he had pushed Jae-hyun aside because of her. Then he forced a small smile. "It's over now. Okay then. I'm leaving, Lisa. Bye," she said flatly, not looking at him. He walked out. The moment the door closed, Lisa's expression snapped. She screamed in frustration and began throwing anything within reach, until the room was in chaos. Eventually, she sank to the floor, breathing unevenly as tears spilled down her face. "You idiot," she whispered. "You think I'm going to let you live happily with Jae-hyun? No way." She reached for her phone and dialed Jace. He picked up immediately. "Lisa? What's wrong? Are you crying?" "That bastard broke up with me," she said coldly. "We lost the battle, but the war isn't over." There was a pause. "So what are we doing now?" Jace asked. She wiped her face roughly. "What do celebrities fear most? Scandal. We're going to create a huge one." Jace hesitated. "Scandal? Won't it affect Eclipse 7? Lisa let out a low laugh. "Not necessarily. It depends on Seong-joon. I don't know about this, but I'm with you if it means Jae-hyun and Seong-joon break up." Lisa smiled faintly to herself. "We're not losing this war, I promise you." Seong-joon returned to his room in high spirits. Jae-hyun was already awake, humming in the bathroom. When he came out and saw his boyfriend, his box smile widened instantly. "So, how did it go?" he asked nervously. Seong-joon rushed to him and lifted him into his arms, spinning him around. Jae-hyun squealed in surprise. "We're free, Jae-hyun. We're free." He set him down and kissed him quickly. Jae-hyun still looked stunned. "You two really broke up?" "Yep. And her heart." Seong-joon frowned. "There's nothing wrong with her heart. She lied just to keep me with her." Jae-hyun nodded slowly. "I kind of suspected something like that." "What do you mean?" "That night she fainted. She winked at me like she knew she'd won." Seong-joon tightened his arms around Jae-hyun's waist. "None of that matters anymore. What matters is us." They kissed again. Jae-hyun blushed, still overwhelmed by it all. Seong-joon was really his. They were crazy for taking the risk, but it was worth it. "So when do we tell the others?" Jae-hyun asked. "Before the show today. No better time." "I love you," Jae-hyun whispered. "I love you too," Seong-joon replied against his lips. The kiss deepened again before Jae-hyun suddenly pulled away, laughing at Seong-joon's pout. "Don't tease me," Seong-joon muttered. "Let's take it slow. I don't want everything to be about that." "I love you though." "I know," Jae-hyun said softly. "But we need balance. We have time." Jae-hyun slipped out of his arms and ran toward the door. "I'm going to shower. What about me? Be a good boyfriend and wait." "Ouch." "Love you," Jae-hyun said, blowing him a kiss. Seong-joon caught it dramatically and pressed it to his chest, making Jae-hyun laugh as he left. Seong-joon lay back on the bed, staring at the ceiling. Everything was finally going well, but something in his chest still felt uneasy. Lisa had given up too easily, and that thought wouldn't leave him alone. The cheers outside the waiting room were almost deafening. Fans screamed endlessly, chanting the name of every single member of Eclipse 7 with overwhelming passion. Kim Ki-tae, Do-hyun, Na-min, Kelly, Jae-hyun, Seong-joon, Jace. The chants echoed non-stop through the arena walls, making the members exchange emotional smiles. Years ago, they had all been nothing more than boys chasing impossible dreams. Now they were standing backstage in New York as one of the biggest boy groups in the world. It still felt unreal, Lisa was nowhere to be seen that day, so her assistant handled the styling instead. After getting dressed and finishing their makeup, the members gathered inside the waiting room while staff hurried around outside preparing for the show. At one corner of the room, Jae-hyun and Seong-joon sat close together, whispering quietly among themselves. Neither of them could decide when to finally tell the others about their relationship. Ironically, despite understanding each other better than anyone else, they argued over the smallest things. "You should say it first." "No, you should. You're the confident one. And you're the dramatic one." Jae-hyun rolled his eyes while Seong-joon tried not to laugh. Even now, moments before a huge concert, they were still bickering like children. Finally, after several minutes of back and forth arguing, they intertwined their fingers and walked toward the others together. The room slowly quieted. All eyes turned toward them. Seong-joon cleared his throat first. "We have something important to say." The members immediately looked curious. Jae-hyun squeezed Seong-joon's hand nervously before blurting it out. "We're together now." A brief silence filled the room. Seong-joon smiled softly. "We're dating." For half a second, nobody moved. Then Do-hyun suddenly jumped from his seat dramatically. "I knew it." He rushed toward them and wrapped both of them in a crushing hug. "I've waited years for this." Jae-hyun burst into embarrassed laughter, while Seong-joon groaned from being squeezed too tightly. Na-min looked completely unsurprised as he sat calmly on the couch. Ki-tae simply smiled knowingly. "Congratulations," both of them said at the same time. Kelly, however, looked stunned. "Wait, seriously?" he gasped before suddenly grinning brightly. "Wow, this is actually real." Do-hyun suddenly pulled away from the hug and glared sharply at Ki-tae. "At least some people here have courage." Ki-tae froze. Everyone looked confused. Then, to everyone's shock, Ki-tae slowly got down on one knee. The entire room exploded. "What? No way. Are you serious?" Ki-tae's ears turned bright red as he looked up at Do-hyun nervously. "I was planning to do this after the concert," he admitted shyly. "But I guess now is fine too." Do-hyun stared at him with wide eyes. "Hyung," Ki-tae whispered softly. "I've liked you for a really long time. All the flirting and skinship isn't enough for me anymore." He swallowed hard. "I want to be yours properly." The room became completely silent. "So," Ki-tae continued quietly, "will you be my boyfriend?" Do-hyun looked seconds away from crying. "You idiot," he whispered emotionally before pulling Ki-tae back to his feet and kissing him hard. Everyone immediately screamed in excitement. "Finally! About time! This dorm is insane." Even Jae-hyun clapped excitedly while laughing. Meanwhile, Seong-joon pouted dramatically beside him. "We just confessed too," he complained quietly. "You got overshadowed," Na-min said lazily. Seong-joon looked offended. Na-min rolled his eyes. "This room is becoming too romantic," he muttered. "Please calm down before I lose my appetite." The room burst into laughter. Kelly smiled warmly at the couples before his expression turned more serious. "I'm really happy for you guys," he admitted honestly before looking towards Seong-joon carefully. "But what about Lisa?" The room quieted slightly again. Seong-joon exhaled softly. "It's over," he answered. "I ended things with her this morning." Kelly nodded slowly. Then his eyes shifted toward Jae-hyun and Jace. "And you too," Jace answered before Jae-hyun could. "Our relationship was fake." Everyone stared at him. Jace forced out a small laugh. "We only pretended to date to make Seong-joon jealous." The others exchanged understanding looks. Honestly, after living together for years, none of them were truly shocked anymore. But then the atmosphere shifted slightly, because Jace looked strangely blank. Too blank. Na-min narrowed his eyes. "You haven't properly congratulated anyone yet," he pointed out carefully. Jace immediately forced a smile onto his face. "Congratulations," he said quickly. Jae-hyun smiled warmly at him. "Thank you, Jace." But Seong-joon noticed it immediately. The smile never reached Jace's eyes. And suddenly, Seong-joon understood something Jae-hyun still hadn't realized yet. Jace wasn't over him. A staff producer suddenly burst into the room before anyone could think further. "You're on in 5 minutes." Instantly, the atmosphere changed. Professional expressions replaced emotional ones. One by one, the 7 members of Eclipse 7 walked toward the stage. And the second they appeared, the arena exploded. The screams were thunderous. Fans waved light sticks wildly while singing along to every performance. The entire venue glowed beautifully beneath the lights as Eclipse 7 performed song after song flawlessly. Their energy was electric. Their chemistry was undeniable. And when it was time for Seong-joon and Jae-hyun's duet stage, fans completely lost their minds. The two stayed unusually close throughout the performance. Small touches, lingering eye contact, quiet smiles, hands brushing together. At one point, Jae-hyun leaned against Seong-joon during the choreography, and the crowd screamed so loudly it nearly drowned out the music. Shipping fans were absolutely losing control online already. Still, nobody thought too deeply about it. Seong-joon and Jae-hyun had always been affectionate with the members, but something about tonight felt different. There was tension between them now, something softer, warmer, real. Only careful observers would notice it. After all the solo stages and performances ended, Ki-tae stepped forward with a huge grin. "Thank you so much, New York City." The crowd roared loudly again. For exhausting hours later, the concert finally came to an end successfully. Everyone backstage celebrated happily while staff congratulated the group. Since they were flying out the next day, a small party was organized that night. Throughout the evening, Seong-joon and Jae-hyun remained glued to each other's side whenever possible. Nothing obvious, just tiny touches, shared glances, secret smiles. Staff members were everywhere, making privacy impossible. Eventually, Seong-joon grew desperate. The moment he saw an empty hallway, he grabbed Jae-hyun's wrist and hurried him into a quiet restroom. Jae-hyun immediately burst into laughter. "The bathroom? Seriously?" Seong-joon locked the door. "I've been waiting all day to kiss you properly." Jae-hyun's cheeks turned pink instantly. "You're unbelievable." Seong-joon didn't answer. He simply stepped closer and kissed him deeply. Jae-hyun melted against him immediately, fingers clutching the front of Seong-joon's cloth while Seong-joon wrapped both arms tightly around his waist. The kiss was warm, emotional, and slightly desperate, like they had been starving for each other all day. Seong-joon finally pulled back slowly, resting his forehead against Jae-hyun's. "There," he whispered softly. "That should keep me alive until tomorrow." Jae-hyun laughed breathlessly. "You're so weird. And you love me anyway." "I unfortunately do." Seong-joon grinned proudly. "Come on," he whispered. "Before people realize we disappeared." Once the hallway was clear, they quietly slipped out together. The party continued late into the night. There was music, loud laughter, and far too much alcohol. Seong-joon personally hated drinking, but Jae-hyun enjoyed it occasionally, especially during celebrations. He wasn't reckless about it, but tonight he drank more than usual. Maybe because he was happy, maybe because he finally had Seong-joon. By the time the party ended, Seong-joon was exhausted and slightly tipsy. He barely remembered saying goodbye before stumbling back into his hotel room and collapsing face first onto the bed. Within minutes, he was asleep. About an hour later, he vaguely heard the sound of the door opening. Soft footsteps approached slowly before the mattress dipped beside him. Then came the familiar scent of strawberries. Seong-joon smiled sleepily before even opening his eyes. Warm lips brushed against his neck gently, then his jaw, then his cheek. "Jae-hyun, ah," he whispered groggily. When he opened his eyes, Jae-hyun was hovering above him, cheeks flushed slightly from alcohol, eyes dark and shining beautifully. "I want you," Jae-hyun whispered softly. The words immediately sent heat rushing through Seong-joon. He carefully turned them over until Jae-hyun was lying beneath him on the bed, staring up at him with nervous anticipation. Seong-joon brushed his fingers slowly across his cheek. "Are you sure?" he whispered seriously. Jae-hyun nodded without hesitation. "More than anything." His voice sounded soft, trusting. completely vulnerable, and Seo-joon's heart nearly burst from how much he loved him. Jae-hyun wrapped both arms around his neck and pulled him closer until there was barely any space left between them. "Make love to me," he whispered shyly. Seo-joon kissed him again immediately, overwhelmed by emotion. That night became one neither of them would ever truly forget. Because in that moment, wrapped up in love, happiness, and reckless emotion, the world outside simply stopped existing for them. Jae-hyun and Seo-joon's fingers remained tightly interlocked throughout the entire flight. Jae-hyun rested his head comfortably against Seo-joon's shoulder. Every now and then, Seo-joon would lean down to kiss the top of his head, making Jae-hyun giggle quietly. "Aish, look at these lovebirds," Kelly teased from across the aisle, earning laughter from the others. Jae-hyun immediately buried his face deeper into Seo-joon's shoulder in embarrassment, while Seo-joon grinned proudly. Eventually, Eclipse 7 arrived at their destination. The moment they stepped off the plane, Jae-hyun and Seo-joon reluctantly untangled their fingers before the cameras could catch them. The airport was crowded with screaming fans and flashing cameras. Security guards and bodyguards surrounded the members as fans shouted the boys' names excitedly. The noise was overwhelming. Seo-joon kept glancing around constantly, making sure Jae-hyun stayed within his sight as they walked through the airport. Once outside, the members were divided into separate cars. Jae-hyun pouted dramatically when he realized he wouldn't be riding with Seo-joon. Seo-joon ended up seated beside Jace in another car. The younger member sat by the window, scrolling through his phone, completely ignoring Seo-joon's presence. Seo-joon studied him quietly before sighing. "Hey Jace." No response. "Yeah, are you really going to ignore me?" Jace slowly looked at him coldly. "What?" he snapped. Seo-joon blinked, surprised by the harsh tone. Jace quickly looked away and sighed tiredly as though trying to control his emotions. "What is it, Hyung?" he asked more calmly this time. Seo-joon hesitated before finally asking the question that had been bothering him for days. "Do you like Jae-hyun?" Silence filled the car instantly. Jace's jaw tightened. "Answer me," Seo-joon said quietly. The younger suddenly laughed bitterly. "Yes," he admitted finally. "I like him a lot." His voice cracked slightly at the end. Seo-joon remained silent. Jace clenched his fists on his lap. "And honestly," he continued bitterly, "I hate seeing him with you." Seo-joon sighed deeply. "Jace, I'm sorry, but you need to understand something." He looked directly at him. "Jae-hyun and I love each other. I don't want you trying to come between us anymore." Jace let out a dry laugh. "Love?" he muttered. "Do you really think the two of you will last?" Seo-joon frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "You'll understand eventually." Jace smirked faintly, though pain still lingered in his eyes. "You and Jae-hyun want different things. One day that difference will destroy you both." Seo-joon stared at him carefully. "What are you talking about?" But Jace simply shook his head. "When that day comes," he whispered quietly, "I'll be there for him and you won't." The car finally stopped in front of the hotel. Jace opened the door first, then paused briefly before looking back at Seo-joon. "You may have won this battle, Hyung," he said softly, "but not the war. I'm not giving up on him." Then he walked away. Seo-joon remained frozen in his seat for several seconds, Jace's words replaying endlessly in his mind. What could possibly make him so confident? A bodyguard knocking gently on the car door finally pulled him back to reality. "Sir, we need to go." Seo-joon nodded and stepped out. The moment he entered the hotel lobby, his entire body stiffened. Lisa was sitting elegantly on one of the couches, her legs crossed as she slowly tapped on her phone. He hadn't even known she came to Singapore. Their eyes met instantly. She smiled. Seo-joon forced an awkward smile back, discomfort crawling through him immediately. Before he could say anything, familiar arms suddenly wrapped around his own. He looked down to find Jae-hyun smiling brightly beside him. "Joni," Jae-hyun quickly corrected himself with a grin. "Seo-joon, the others are choosing rooms right now. I saw Ki-tae putting letter B into the yellow envelopes earlier. We should pick those ones so we can share the same room. Seong-joon burst out laughing. You're unbelievable. Jae-hyun giggled proudly and dragged him away. Thankfully, their little plan worked perfectly. When the room assignments were announced, they ended up together. The two practically screamed in excitement. We did it! They both jumped excitedly. Na-min watched them with complete exhaustion written across his face. I swear, he muttered, yawning. If you two start being loud at night, I'm changing rooms immediately. He then glanced toward Do-hyun and Ki-tae, who had also ended up sharing a room. You two included. Do-hyun immediately turned red while Ki-tae looked suspiciously guilty. They tried hiding their blushes because deep down, they both knew their room definitely wouldn't stay PG. Na-min simply rolled his eyes and walked away into the room he would share with Kelly. Jace quietly grabbed his own keycard and headed toward his room alone without another word. Jae-hyun watched him sadly. I'm worried about him, he whispered softly. He's been acting strange lately. Do you think I'm the reason? Seong-joon could tell Jae-hyun was slowly starting to understand Jace's feelings, but he forced a small smile. I think he's just stressed. Don't overthink it. Jae-hyun nodded uncertainly before they finally entered their room together. The room was massive. A queen-sized bed sat at the center, facing large glass windows that overlooked the city skyline. Warm golden lights illuminated the room beautifully, and there was even a balcony outside. Jae-hyun's eyes widened in excitement. It's beautiful, Seong-joon. He immediately ran toward the balcony while Seong-joon followed behind, smiling fondly. It's amazing, Jae-hyun whispered. Seong-joon slipped an arm around him. Do you want to go explore the city? Jae-hyun immediately turned around excitedly. Yes, please. Seong-joon pretended to think about it while Jae-hyun pouted dramatically. We'll leave right after the concert tomorrow, Jae-hyun pleaded. This might be our only chance to enjoy Singapore together. Seong-joon laughed softly. All right, you win. Jae-hyun hugged him tightly and kissed his cheek happily. They changed into lighter clothes because of the warm weather. Seong-joon grabbed his camera. On the way downstairs, they encountered Ki-tae. Where are you two going now? He asked suspiciously. We want to look around the city, Seong-joon answered. Ki-tae shook his head with amusement. You both seriously never stay still. He sighed dramatically. Just be back by 5. We're rehearsing before tomorrow's concert. We will, Seong-joon promised. Unfortunately, just as they were about to leave, Lisa appeared again. She smirked, her eyes slightly red. Well, she drawled mockingly. If it isn't Eclipse 7's newest couple. The faint smell of alcohol lingered around her. Seong-joon frowned. Lisa, are you drunk? She smirked lazily. Maybe. She stepped aside dramatically. I won't stop your little date. Jae-hyun visibly rolled his eyes in annoyance. Seong-joon immediately grabbed his hand and guided him away. Excuse us. As they walked past her, Lisa's voice rang out behind them. You won't stay happy forever, Seong-joon. Neither of them turned back. Once outside, Jae-hyun exhaled deeply. She ruins my mood every single time. Seong-joon squeezed his shoulder gently. Forget about her. Today is about us. Even though they couldn't openly hold hands in public, they stayed close enough for their shoulders and fingers to brush constantly. They explored the city together, taking countless pictures and trying different foods from small street vendors. Jae-hyun's eyes sparkled excitedly at everything. At one point, they stopped at a tiny tattoo shop and impulsively got matching temporary tattoos behind their necks. 1995, their birth year. Afterward, they spotted a jewelry store. Seong-joon instantly noticed 2 simple rings decorated with tiny gemstones matching their birth colors. Blue for him and soft pink for Jae-hyun. Let's get these, he said immediately. Minutes later, they stood outside the shop quietly admiring the rings on each other's fingers. Jae-hyun stared at his ring breathlessly. It's beautiful. Seong-joon smiled softly. Later, they sat together on a bench at a peaceful park overlooking the city. For a while, neither of them spoke. Then Jae-hyun finally whispered quietly, "Do you think we'll still be together 10 years from now?" Seo-joon looked at him seriously. "I want us to be." Jae-hyun smiled sadly. "What kind of future do you imagine for us?" Seo-joon leaned back thoughtfully. "Maybe we'll open an entertainment company together someday." Jae-hyun's eyes widened. "Really? Why not?" Seo-joon grinned. "We can support young artists who struggle like we did." Jae-hyun smiled warmly. "And maybe I'll open a dance academy." Seo-joon laughed softly. "Of course you would." They continued talking about impossible dreams. Marriage, children, traveling together, building a home somewhere peaceful. Felt nice pretending those things could truly happen. Eventually, they stopped at a quiet Chinese restaurant before heading back. Because they sat in a secluded corner hidden from others, Seo-joon finally relaxed enough to gently hold Jae-hyun's hand under the table again. "Can I kiss you?" he whispered teasingly. Jae-hyun laughed softly. "Since when do you ask permission?" Seo-joon grinned and leaned forward anyway, kissing him gently. It was soft, slow, and warm enough to make Jae-hyun melt instantly. Neither of them wanted the day to end. Unfortunately, by the time they returned to the hotel, they were already late. Ki-tae scolded them endlessly before dragging them into rehearsal. By the time rehearsal ended, both boys were exhausted. Back inside their room, they immediately collapsed onto the bed together. No teasing, no kissing, just warmth. Jae-hyun curled against Seo-joon's chest while Seo-joon slowly stroked through his soft yellow hair until the younger drifted asleep peacefully. Seo-joon looked down at him quietly. He had never felt this happy before, and maybe that was exactly why he felt afraid. Because deep down, a terrible feeling lingered in his chest, like this happiness wasn't meant to last forever. That morning, loud banging echoed violently through the hotel room door. "Open the door, you little idiots!" Ki-tae shouted from outside, his deep voice booming through the hallway like thunder. Do-hyun and Kelly stood beside him looking equally furious. Inside the room, Seo-joon groaned softly. "What the hell is going on?" he muttered sleepily, completely unwilling to wake up. He turned over and covered his ears with another pillow. But Jae-hyun was already wide awake. His heart immediately began racing. "Seo-joon," he whispered nervously, shaking him lightly. "Something's wrong." 5 more minutes," Seo-joon mumbled stubbornly. Bang, bang, bang. "Open the door right now," Ki-tae roared again. That finally did it. Seo-joon sat up abruptly while Jae-hyun rushed toward the door and unlocked it. The second the lock clicked open, Ki-tae stormed into the room with Do-hyun and Kelly right behind him. The atmosphere felt terrifying. Ki-tae looked absolutely furious. He stared at the two boys, his chest rising heavily with anger. "You too," he muttered darkly. "Because of you, Eclipse 7 is in serious trouble right now." Jae-hyun swallowed hard. "What happened?" Seo-joon asked quietly, though dread was already creeping into his chest. "This happened," Do-hyun snapped. He threw his phone toward them. Seo-joon caught it quickly while Jae-hyun leaned closer to read the screen. The moment they saw the headline, both of them froze. Scandal. Eclipse 7's Jae-hyun and Seo-joon allegedly caught dating in Singapore. Below the article were blurry photos of them together, walking closely, touching hands, laughing together. And then, the kissing photos. Jae-hyun's stomach dropped instantly. The news continued. An anonymous source claims the two members have secretly been romantically involved for some time. Witnesses allegedly spotted them holding hands and kissing during the group's world tour, including in New York and Singapore. Fans worldwide have reacted strongly online, with many expressing anger and disappointment. Some speculate this scandal could threaten Eclipse 7's future as a group. Their company has yet to release an official statement. Jae-hyun stared at the photos in horror. Seo-joon ran a trembling hand through his hair. "Lisa," he whispered bitterly. "She did this." Kelly looked stressed beyond words while Ki-tae paced angrily across the room. "We don't have time to blame anyone right now," Ki-tae snapped. We need to deal with this immediately. His phone suddenly rang. Everyone fell silent. Ki-tae answered quickly and listened carefully for almost a full minute. The longer he listened, the darker his expression became. When the call finally ended, he looked exhausted. "The concert tonight has been cancelled," he said quietly. Everyone stared at him in shock. "What?" Kelly whispered. Fans started refunding tickets. "The company thinks it's too risky to continue the tour right now." He paused heavily. "We're flying back to Korea immediately." Silence swallowed the room. Kelly looked close to tears. "We're really in trouble," he whispered shakily. Do-hyun suddenly turned sharply towards Seo-joon and Jae-hyun. "You two aren't the only people in secret relationships here," he snapped angrily. "Why weren't you more careful?" "Because of this." "Hey, calm down," Ki-tae interrupted softly, trying to hold his shoulder, but Do-hyun shook him off immediately. "Why should I calm down?" he shouted. "Everything is falling apart." Then he stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind him so hard the walls shook. Ki-tae sighed heavily before looking back at the younger boys. "Pack your things. We leave in 20 minutes. Then he left too. Only Kelly remained behind. He looked at them sadly, disappointment written all over his face. "We've survived so many storms together," he said quietly. "But this, I don't know if we can survive this one." His eyes watered slightly before he turned and walked away. The room fell painfully silent. Jae-hyun slowly looked towards Seo-joon, frozen on the bed staring blankly at the phone. "So, what do we do now?" Jae-hyun asked softly. Seo-joon lowered his head. "It's my fault," he whispered. Jae-hyun blinked in shock. "What?" Tears suddenly rolled down Seo-joon's face. "I ruined everything," he said hoarsely. "I should never have kissed you that day." Jae-hyun's expression immediately hardened. "What are you talking about?" he demanded. "Do you regret us?" Seo-joon's eyes widened instantly. "No, never," he said quickly. "That's not what I mean." Before he could finish, Jae-hyun pulled him into his arms tightly. "Don't say things like that," Jae-hyun whispered shakily. "We'll get through this together." He gently cupped Seo-joon's face. "This is just another obstacle, okay? We can survive it, as long as we stay together." Seo-joon stared at him silently before nodding weakly. Then they kissed softly, maybe for the last time. The airport was absolute chaos. Paparazzi crowded every entrance while angry fans screamed from behind security barriers. Most of the cameras were aimed directly at Seo-joon and Jae-hyun. The shouting became unbearable. "Disgusting! You betrayed us! How could you do this, Jae-hyun?" Seo-joon corrupted him. Shame on Eclipse 7. One cruel insult hit Jae-hyun especially hard. "Freaks!" He flinched slightly but kept walking. Security struggled to control the crowd as insults continued flying toward them non-stop. Finally, the members managed to board their private plane. The second the doors closed, everyone exhaled heavily in relief. But the silence inside felt suffocating. Namin looked pale and exhausted. Kelly nervously chewed on his fingernails. Jace stared out the window quietly, tapping his foot anxiously. Ki-tae sat beside a visibly upset Do-hyun, trying to comfort him. Meanwhile, Seo-joon and Jae-hyun sat together near the back, barely speaking. Jae-hyun slowly leaned closer. "Should we just run away?" he whispered weakly. Seo-joon looked at him with a heartbreaking smile. "It'll be okay," he murmured. But something about him felt different. Empty, distant. Jae-hyun suddenly felt afraid. Still, he held Seo-joon's hand tightly and rested his head against his shoulder. He didn't care who saw anymore. He just wanted to stay beside him. A few rows away, Jace's phone vibrated. He quietly got up and slipped into the bathroom before answering. "Lisa," he whispered. "This is worse than I imagined." Lisa laughed softly on the other end. "Relax," she said calmly. "Everything is going exactly according to plan." Jace hesitated. "Just stay quiet and let me handle the rest," she continued. "Okay." After the call ended, Jace returned silently to his seat. His eyes drifted toward Seong-joon and Jae-hyun. They both looked devastated. For the first time, guilt twisted painfully inside his chest. But when he imagined having Jae-hyun all to himself someday, his expression hardened again. He forced himself to look away. When Eclipse 7 finally arrived back in Korea, the airport situation was even worse. Reporters shoved microphones toward them aggressively while cameras flashed non-stop. This time, Seong-joon instinctively moved ahead of Jae-hyun, trying to escape the chaos quickly. The action hurt Jae-hyun more than he expected, but he pretended not to notice. "No comment," Hee-tae shouted repeatedly as the members hurried toward their waiting vehicles. This time, Jae-hyun and Seong-joon were separated. Jae-hyun ended up in a car with Jace and Kelly. As the car drove off, Kelly frowned. "Wait, why are we heading to the company? The chairman requested to see all of you immediately," the driver answered. Jae-hyun's stomach dropped instantly. The chairman himself? That meant the situation was truly serious. His chest tightened painfully. Suddenly, he felt Jace place a hand gently over his own. "It's going to be okay, Hyung," Jace whispered softly. And somehow, despite everything, Jae-hyun wanted to believe him. Thanks for watching. Do like and subscribe to the channel for more updates.